Hello, welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime. And I am your host, Professor Prime. So, I wanted to continue my talk about math anxiety. And I wanted to do so in this particular video with math myths. Partially because I enjoy dispelling a good myth here and there, but also because I feel like these myths are contributing factors to a lot of math anxiety out there. So I'm going to state the myths and then my counter to them and how I feel about them. So let's get started. Myth. There's only one right way to solve a math problem. And it's all about being right or wrong. Counter. Untrue on both cases. So with the first part of this myth, I disagree because there's actually various ways to solve a math problem. Like even within the smaller machinations such as like addition, for instance, there's different ways I could do that. But if you wanted to take it on another level, I had mentioned in another video about pay rate, for instance, and how a problem about that and about like calculating pay based on how much you are working is something that you can express in different ways. I can talk about that numerically. I can talk about that visually, i.e. through a graph. I could talk about that algebraically, setting up an equation that represented my pay is a result of the pay rate that I'm making and also the amount of hours that I'm working. And I thought that was an amazing thing, right? Like I can go about these math problems in so many different ways, and that's just one example. And so the other part of that is like it's about being right or wrong. Yes, you want to be correct, especially if you're presenting like a new math to the world, because you want to have something that we're able to predict new things or understand the universe better. But when you're learning about math, and even in those other contexts, it's like, well, what about what you actually learned? What can you say about that? As I have mentioned more than once, like I'm a teacher, right? So I'm actually like very big on partial credit. And the reasoning behind that is, yes, correct answers are nice, but I also want to see how it's done because someone can understand a concept, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're perfect, and they may understand part of a concept. That doesn't mean they have no knowledge of it at all. So my whole thing is like with math, there's so many different ways that you can solve a problem, and it's not just about being right or wrong. It's about what you're doing, what you're showing, what you're learning. So I think that's important. All right, so ready for another myth. Myth. Some people just have math minds. Counter. Well, like, what is a math mind? What does that really mean? Is that actually a thing? Now, I would argue, and I'm sure some people would disagree with me here, but I don't think that's an actual thing. I say this as someone who is very much known for being very mathematical. And I want to explain that. So here's the thing, right? I feel like you might have certain fields that you're inclined to, and that's okay, that's a thing. But here's the thing, you have other bits to that. There are a lot of factors that contribute to what you're doing in life and what you're good at. And some of that might be natural inclinations, but a lot of that is also practice. So a lot of that is like diving in and understanding something better. And so when it comes to math, I don't think there is such a thing as an actual math mind because everyone can do math. Math is what we're interpreting about the universe. It's there whether we say we know it or not. We use it whether we realize it or not. On a conscious or unconscious level, the math is there. We're interpreting the results. We're using that accordingly to figure out things about the world. And it's more than that. In order to be really mathematical, so to speak, I don't have to just indulge in logic. I have to indulge in creativity. I have to problem solve. I have to figure out new ideas. I have to get an understanding of what's being told to me. And in order to do that, yes, being able to understand the logic is one thing, but in order to understand that logic, I have to be creative. In order to display that logic, I have to be creative. Logic and creativity go hand in hand. And so That's what I wanted to get across about that, man. So, are you ready for another one? The last one for this video. Because I feel like we can play this game all day, but I feel like the ones that I've been talking about contribute to a lot concerning math anxiety. So here we go. Myth. All mathematicians, all great mathematicians do the math quickly in their head all the time. Counter. That just isn't so. You might have a couple cases where you have mathematicians that can do math in their head and do that quite well and even do that quickly. But I feel like to be deeply effective at math, and in order to display what you know to the world, you have to take your time. And oftentimes, taking your time can actually make you more effective. Because not only are you organizing your thoughts, but you're considering it like more carefully what you're saying. And I think like whether you're writing a journal article about math or doing some math problem for a homework or a test, here's the thing. You're not just writing that math for you. You're also writing it for your audience. And I know for me, when I'm like reading a problem on a test that I'm grading, I can't just assume that someone knows what they're doing. I have to see what they've written and go off of that evidence. And it's the same with a lot of people. I'm not psychic yet. I'm working on it. And neither are a lot of other people. So oftentimes when we do math, we have to consider other people. So writing that down, it helps us be more clear because we want to say something to the audience. We want to show that what we're trying to prove is true, but also that we know those concepts, that we get it. And writing can be quite great. And since we're communicating, being able to communicate in several different ways is key. So yeah, I don't think being really, really quick necessarily makes you a great mathematician, but just really quick sometimes. And when you go progressively higher in math, the truth is you do have to write down a lot. You do have to get that out there. And practice helps with speed too if you want to get faster with something, but that's not the end all be all. So all of that being said, I hope like considering some of these like math myths and some of the counters that I mentioned help someone because math isn't just one thing and you can do it. Same with the people around you, same as me. That being said, I hope this reached someone. Professor Prime out.